Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, and today's video will be covering another new GameStop sale and 10 more great deals worth buying, so let's get into it. The first game on our list is Star Ocean: The Second Story R. And this game is a remake of a classic JRPG, and it starts out with having the choice of choosing between two different characters, Claude and Reyna. And you'll find yourself stranded on a new planet and engaging with a more primitive culture for Claude as you unravel the mystery of how you ended up on this planet and how to get back to your own world. Now, the game itself features combat that's very similar to the Tales series, where it's more of an arena combat mixed with real-time inputs, and it almost feels like a combination of action RPG meets fighting game. And so you have a bunch of different playable characters that you can choose from, but you'll play as one at a time, and the others will work via AI. And so you can set up the AI to give inputs for these characters and have a general play style, but you really only control one character at a time. You'll have different special abilities you can activate for your character in addition to your standard attacks, dodging, and blocking. And the combat overall is really engaging and a lot of fun. The story is really cool and there's a huge world to explore. If you like classic JRPG style gameplay with some fast-paced action combat, I definitely recommend it. The next game is Celeste. And so Celeste is an intense action platforming game mixed with some puzzle elements as well. And you'll play as a young girl, Madeline, as she tries to climb a colossal mountain and deals with those challenges, but also with some challenges in her personal life as well. And so the storyline is very compelling, but the gameplay is incredibly addicting as well. And so as I mentioned, the game really combines this action platforming with some puzzle elements, and you'll face death around every corner. Most areas are covered in spikes and feature instant death. Thankfully, you have unlimited continues to try again to clear different areas. And it gets really fun and addicting as well as rewarding to clear these different challenging areas. On top of that, there's extra challenges thrown in the mix where you'll need to collect different strawberries hidden throughout levels. It's kind of an extra challenge on top of the original difficulty of the game. It's a lot of fun, and if you like action platformers, I think you'll like this game a lot as well. The next game is Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. And so this game is a fast-paced action RPG, and you'll play as Adel, a young adventurer that ends up getting wrongfully imprisoned in a massive prison city, Balduc. And so you need to find your way out of this city, but on top of that, a mysterious woman shoots you with a magic bullet and turns you into a monstrum, which unleashes new unique demonic powers for your character. And you'll become part of a group, the Monstrums, as they try and take on the evil Monstrum Nox. And so this is kind of like a demon world that is combining with your own, and demonic monsters are spawning around the city. And so you'll need to take them out and defeat them. And each time you do, you'll be able to get a little bit further and explore a little bit more of the city. And so you need to find your way of getting out of this curse and escaping the city and stopping the evil Monstrum Nox from destroying the world as well. And so the story's a little bit out there, but it is fun to uncover and explore the city. But there's a lot of different quests to take on. It has almost an open world-like feel to it. And so there's a lot of different side missions you can take on as well. And the game really shines in its fast-paced combat. And so you'll control one main character and you'll have different abilities that you can unleash. As I mentioned, it's kind of fast-paced arena-based combat. And so each character will have different special moves that you can unleash where you'll be able to dodge attacks, use standard attacks, but then also have a set of 4 different abilities you can choose from, and these can level up as well. On top of that, you can switch between any of the players to control on the fly, and each have a unique play style to them. But on top of that, they have some type of special attack which coordinate with weaknesses of certain types of enemies. And so often you'll need to switch between characters to exploit enemy weaknesses throughout combat. It's not really a Metroidvania by any means, but it does have a little bit of that feel because each time you recruit a new character and connect with the different monstrums throughout the city, each one has a unique ability that you can use to further explore the environment. And so you'll find different treasures hidden around the city. unique shops, graffiti scattered about, and there's a lot of hidden secrets to discover, and so it's a lot of fun doing that and exploring the city as well. I think if you like action RPGs and fast-paced combat, and some of those open world elements that I mentioned, I think you'll like this game as well. The next game is Double Dragon Gaiden. Now this game is a roguelike beat 'em up set in the Double Dragon universe. And so you'll play as different heroes as they try and stop different gangs from taking over the city. And so you'll play as two characters at once, and you can tag between them throughout the missions. And each character really has a unique play style. They'll have unique special abilities as well that they can unleash. And since it does have the roguelike aspect to the game, after you clear each level, you'll earn coins that you can spend on different power-ups for your team. And so those are randomized each time, and you can either take advantage of those, buying them with money, or you can use these coins and save them up to purchase different unlockables throughout the game. And so these can be different hidden characters, soundtracks, and much more. Another neat feature with this roguelike element is the fact that you'll choose from kind of a stage select option, taking on whatever gang you want, but each progressive gang that you take on gets a little bit more challenging and the stages get a little bit longer. And so it's likely that you'll want to play through the game multiple times so you can experience everything the game has to offer. The gameplay is a lot of fun, and if you like classic beat 'em ups with a modern twist, I think you'll like this game as well. The next game is Shin Megami Tensei 5. And so this is really a unique turn-based RPG where you'll play as a young high school student that gets sucked into a demonic world in a post-apocalyptic Tokyo in kind of like an alternate universe, and you get thrown into the mix of between a battle of angels and demons. And so it's a cool concept and an intriguing dark story, but the turn-based combat also consists of you recruiting different demons throughout the world and building them up as a part of your team. So it kind of felt like a really more advanced dark Pokemon game to some extent, but the strategy is much, much deeper than the basics that you would find in like a Pokemon game. And so you'll need to build your team to take on different challenging monsters, and it also has kind of an open world-like feel to it, where you can explore this apocalyptic Tokyo, finding a lot of hidden secrets around the map. As I mentioned, battles can get very strategic and challenging. Thankfully, there's some accessibility modes to the game, which you might want to utilize, making it much easier if you're new to the series. I think if you like challenging turn-based RPGs, this one's worth checking out as well. The next game is Octopath Traveler 2. Now, Octopath Traveler 2 is definitely one of the best turn-based RPGs in recent years, and it has really 8 different distinct stories happening at the same time. And so one of the cool features of the Octopath Traveler series is the fact that you can choose from one of 8 characters to start the game. And then it has almost an open world-like feel where you can explore the world and recruit other characters to join your party. And so each one of these characters has a unique job class, so it might be stuff like a warrior, a mage, a cleric, merchant, thief, and much more. And each one really have their own unique backstory and set of abilities as well. And so it kind of taps into that classic Final Fantasy style job system where you'll be able to learn specific abilities based on your character class, but you'll also be able to equip a secondary class, unlocking more powers for your characters. And so you can really mix and match these abilities to build your ultimate team. Combat is also really engaging where it is turn-based, but it has a unique battle point system where you can kind of chain together multiple turns in a row or really power up your abilities based on how many battle points you use. And so you'll need to strategically plan this, and that adds really another layer of strategy to the game. But on top of that, another cool thing is that enemies have certain weakness types, and if you chain together enough attacks that they're weak against, you can break them to do even more damage. So there's a lot of strategy beyond just the basic turn-based mechanics, which is a lot of fun and really addicting. This is definitely, again, one of the best turn-based RPGs out in recent years, and I highly recommend it. The next game is Gal Guardian's Demon Purge. And so this is a 2D action platformer with some light Metroidvania elements as well. And you'll play as two young sisters that are also demon hunters, as their high school and many of their friends get sucked into a demon world, and you go on a quest to stop the demon responsible, save your friends, and restore your high school back to the real world. And so it has a little bit of an over-the-top anime-like story, but the gameplay is a lot of fun and feels reminiscent of classic Castlevania games. Now the game itself is a little bit more linear, but there are some different hidden secrets throughout the game, and as you unlock new abilities, you'll be able to find some of those to power up your characters, enhancing their life bar and powering up their abilities. But it's not as robust or open world like many Metroidvania games are. And so with that in mind, it is more linear, but still a lot of fun. Now when you play as the different sisters, you can actually play as both at the same time and switch between them on the fly. And they both have really unique play styles. One of them is more melee focused and will use magical origami to unleash abilities and attacks on enemies. And then the other sister is more of a ranged character where she dual wields machine guns and uses magic abilities as well. And so you'll want to switch between them depending on what enemies and bosses you're facing, but they each have their own unique life bar and abilities and magic bar, and so you'll need to manage them accordingly. Another cool thing is if you're playing single player and one of your characters dies, you actually have a chance to resuscitate them and bring them back with a smaller life bar. Or you can also play co-op, which is another unique experience. Overall, if you like classic action platformers and are a fan of the series Castlevania, I think you'll like this one as well. The next game is the Metal Gear Solid Collection Part 1. And so this is a collection of many of the great Metal Gear Solid games. And these games are overall stealth action games. And these stealth action games feature Solid Snake as he tries to take on various covert missions to save the world. And so not only do you get to play some of the modern Metal Gear games, you also get to play some of the retro ones that came out on the NES. On top of all the great base games that are included with this collection, there's also a lot of extras thrown in as well. And so you'll get things like graphic novels, screenplays, soundtracks, and much more. I think if you like stealth action games, these are some of the best out there, and I definitely recommend this collection. The next game is Dragon Quest Treasures. And so Dragon Quest Treasures is a light-hearted action RPG meets treasure hunting game. And you'll play as Eric and Mia from Dragon Quest XI in sort of a prequel / alternate universe outside of the mainline game. And you'll play as them as young children as they go on different quests trying to find legendary treasure. And so it's a light-hearted game in general compared to the original Dragon Quest XI, but it also adds some monster hunting elements and even almost some Metroidvania aspects to the game as well. And so the game is more action-based where you'll control either Eric or Mia, but both pretty much play the same, but you'll also get a collection of monsters along the way, and they will aid you within combat. On top of that, these monsters will also grant you kind of world abilities where you can reach different areas using these monsters' unique skills. And so that's where that kind of Metroidvania element comes in, where you'll be able to unlock and reach new places and find harder to get treasure as you collect these different monsters. It is more of a simplified RPG compared to your standard Dragon Quest game, and so it will appeal to younger audiences, but I think it's fun for all ages. And so if you want another lighthearted action RPG with some great Dragon Quest monsters, characters, and music, I would recommend this one as well. The final game is Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. And so this game is a roguelike action platformer that's one of the best in the genre. And it also includes all of the DLC for the game since it's been released, and the special Return to Castlevania edition as well. And so like I said, Dead Cells is already one of the best roguelike Metroidvanias out there, but with this new Castlevania expansion, it taps into the classic characters, music, boss fights, and weapons of that series that this original game was based around. And so you'll get to play through some new storyline features, including Richter Belmont and Alucard from the Castlevania series, as you try and take on Dracula. And so it's a lot of fun getting to play as these characters as well. So you'll be able to equip different costumes, playing as many of the Belmonts and characters throughout the series. It includes a boss rush mode, many different challenging levels, hundreds of weapons to equip, and much more. And if you like roguelike action platformers, it's definitely one of the best in the genre, and I highly recommend it. Well, again, that wraps up our video on this latest GameStop sale and 10 more great games worth buying. And so if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you're going to pick up any of these games or have played them before, let us know in the comments below. And if you did want to pick up any of these, there'll be a link in the description below where you can do so, and you can help support the channel at the same time. On top of that, we also partnered with a new game store, Nutmeg Games. And so if you like things like board games, video games, Pokemon cards, and more, you can actually head to nutmeggames.com/nerdproblemsgaming or use our promo code at checkout, and you'll actually get 10% off your order and help support the channel at the same time. So if you want to take advantage of that deal, head to the link in the description below. And on top of that, if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out, and so you can take advantage of future sale videos and get started on these great deals. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.